Hey, welcome back to our podcast, your go-to source for all things real estate and lifestyle in the heart of Fort Worth, Texas. I'm Jackson Christian Berry.
And I'm Jean Kristen Berry.
And together we're here to guide you through the vibrant world of Fort Worth and surrounding suburb living.
We believe in creating a community where everyone feels at home. And that's why we're committed to bringing you honest, expert advice in a fun and friendly way. From the bustling streets of downtown to the serene suburbs, we've got the scoop on what makes each area unique.
Each week we'll dive into the latest market trends, offer tips for both buyers and sellers, and share insider knowledge to help you make informed decisions. So whether you're a first-time home buyer, a seasoned investor, or just curious about some of the Fort Worth charming neighborhoods, you're in the right place. Let's jump into today's episode.
Welcome back to Welcome Home Fort Worth. We're glad you guys are with us today, and today we are talking about how to sell a house.
Yes, this is your refresher course on how to sell a house in case over the last month you've thought, you know what, we may be thinking about doing something like that. And so this is your refresher course just to remind you what this looks like. If you're somebody who's not interested in buying a house at this current time, or excuse me, selling a house, my apologies, at this current time, I still recommend you listen to this. It's always good to be aware of what that process looks like, so that when it comes around, when it feels like it's time, you are very prepared for it. So,
and maybe it'll just make you more empathetic for your friends who are selling a house.
Fair enough, yeah. You remind you what they're going through right now. That's funny. Yep. All right, well, just jumping in real quick. When it comes to selling your house, you're going to want to have an initial consultation. And so that is a realtor or realtors, if you're interviewing realtors. You're going to sit down together. They should be getting very clear on your goals, why you're selling, what it is that you're trying to accomplish. Is it profit? Is it needing to be somewhere new by a certain time? Is it timeline? Is it something different?
Jackson, I want to live closer to my grandson. That would be my reason for moving.
Well, you should do that. Yeah. So
something like that.
Something like that. Yeah. Or it can be maybe there's something weird about your house, honestly, that you need to work around, and you've got to figure out the strategic way to sell it because of something, whether it's maybe it's in disarray, and so you've got to figure out how to sell a home that's in distress.
You're tired of the dark windows.
Whatever it is.
Not enough daylight.
Yes. Yeah, so anyways, we're going to figure out what your goals are, and we're going to figure out your timeline, and then we're going to just go through comps. We're going to talk about what's happening, on the larger scale nationally, what's happening on the local scale, county kind of scale, city scale.
Economic factor.
What's going on, everything about that. And then we're going to look specifically at comps. We're going to look at comparable sales in your area. Now, this is a big part of the conversation, okay? Because when we sit down and look at comparable sales, you got to understand that this is lagging data. This is data that's behind. Yeah. And so this is data that from anywhere from 0 to 90 days is what we're going to go for, unless you're in a unique situation, or may have to go back a year to really find sales. And so what we're going to do is we're going to try to see, hey, this property sold for this price, at this time. Here, because of this, we're going to try and triangulate kind of a range for you to see. That is where we need to be priced at, judging from what we see.
This is a similar property.
Yep.
May not, it's hard to find an exact, right? Yeah. Those are unusual.
Well, unless you've got really like
a subdivision.
In a subdivision in a suburb where the builder was building, track homes kind of thing.
Same house.
And so that's a little easier because in those situations, it's easier to figure out price because it's.
So it's going to be similar.
Yeah.
And then we'll kind of talk about the differences between the homes and try to come up with the value.
Exactly.
The pricing.
Yep.
And pricing is about 80% of what sells your house.
Yeah, and this, like this is supply and demand, right? Like if you have a home that let's call it a home that should sell at 300K, 400K, we'll say 400K, okay. A home that should sell at 400K, right? If I price that thing at $1, okay, $1, put it on the market for $1. First off, everybody's gonna think it's a scam, so nobody's gonna do anything. So I'm gonna go $2, okay? So if I price it at $2, the market's gonna go nuts. The market's gonna say, oh my gosh, this is such an outlier in the supply and demand factor and pricing wise. And so we're gonna crash our internet servers because we're gonna get so many offers in on this thing. And it's gonna drive it back up, really. And so it's very difficult to truly underprice a home to a drastic scale like that, right? Because the market's always gonna react and pull it back up, right? Kind of the flip thing happens on the overpriced side. On the overpriced side, you just sit. There's no activity. It's the opposite. You maybe get a showing, right? And that scale, you may think, well, we're just going to wait for the right person. That is a strategy that you can and are able to do. However, you need to keep in mind that the more days on the market you get, the more truly kind of desperate you're going to get. The more closer you're going to get to the timeline that you had that when we started this was 120 days away. Now it's 30 days away.
Right.
You need to move. And so because we overpriced, we just sat too long, and now we have to take a lower offer than what we wanted to because of that situation, right? So that's a specific situation. I'm talking details, and I'm kind of inserting a scenario into that. But
there is a specific, like you mentioned, there's a tactic to that.
Yeah.
Sitting longer on the market, but a lot of that depends on activity, how many showings you're getting, and the feedback we're getting. So we would monitor that, not just let you sit.
Exactly, and that's a whole pricing comment. Like the 3 strategies in pricing. Yeah. Overprice, price at what you think it's worth, underprice it. And all of those have pros and cons. Yeah, and can put you in different scenarios that you need to make sure are favorable to. So we'll talk through pricing, we'll talk through your home, and then we'll figure out a price. And so once we figure out a price, we've signed docs, you've officially hired a realtor. What you want to do next is begin preparing your home. If it's not ready to go now, you need to get it ready to go so we can do pictures. We can get things ready to stage if we're doing staging. I
like to say, it's all about price, and then it's product.
Okay.
So that's going to be how your house looks, the curb appeal,
how it feels,
all of that.
Oh my gosh, I didn't tell you about this.
Smells.
We were in I did a tour yesterday. It was the craziest tour I've ever done. The homeowner had all the TVs on, and all the TVs had like resort island, like sandy beaches, like kind of like grandscapes or whatever. Had jazz music when you walked into the home, had incense burning in every single room, all the lights were on, all the windows were open. It was just like, they want to sell this house.
Yeah.
It was like
they were doing all the things.
I have never seen that. I've toured, I don't know, over hundreds of houses at this point, right?
Nobody does that anymore.
Nobody does that.
We used to do that. That was like standard.
That's crazy.
Baking cookies, all that.
I love houses. Standard. You can tell folks who still do that are so fun because you walk in, you're like, no way, what? Like, this is so cool.
And you'd have refreshments for everybody.
Yeah, it's all that.
It's a thing.
Yep.
That's doing the most. But you know what? Those little things
they make a difference.
Yeah. They really do.
Totally do.
I can't tell you how many buyers I've been with when we walk into like 6 houses and the one that smells the nicest, the best, it just smells fresh and clean, just homey, is the one they really wanted to buy.
Yeah, and even if you're not the kind of person like my wife and I, we have dogs, right? Like our home tends to be a little more messy than otherwise. We get a kid, like, it's part of the way we live. But like, even if you're the kind of person who is like me, maybe a little more messy, the reality is that when you do make efforts like that and you have incidents, people don't really think that about you. They're gonna think, wow, like this person. You're gonna need to fix up the stuff if anything's broken. Like we always have to do baseboards in the houses we live in. Baseboards are just the thing because of our dogs. It's just we know that. Like we know that about owning dogs. We know that that's just part of the struggle. But yeah, they're gonna think, wow, this seller takes really good care of their home, and that's a really great thing for somebody to think about you as a seller.
Somebody I want to buy something from.
Because that's the history. They think, wow, this has been taken care of. Wow, this has been. Anyways, so it's a good thing. It's a good psychological, get for them.
So yeah, it's price and it's product, and then after that, it's going to be promotion.
Sure,
which is the marketing.
But even before then, in the product, getting it ready. Sometimes this looks like repairs. Sometimes this looks like fixing things around the house and getting things going, and then
doing the landscaping.
Yes.
Putting in some flowers at the front porch, sweeping off the front porch, just basic cleaning, things like that.
Make it look good. So, yes, but then, we market the home. So what's it going to look at in the marketing scale? And my favorite way to verbalize this to folks recently has been, at least our marketing plan, every realtor has a different marketing plan. But I think we really believe in kind of the blending of all models. So it's kind of an integrated marketing approach.
Depending on the house.
It's the traditional marketing mediums like open houses and things like in the way doing showings like this where you have incense burning or whatever, right? It's also the digital marketing mediums, right?
Absolutely.
Zillow, Realtor.com, all of the new stuff that has emerged, over the time. And social marketing. Like you've got a lot of social media plays. We can get so many views on a reel right now. And it's the amount of people that maybe purchase the home from that reel, who knows really? I'm sure somebody will I'm sure the statistic exists, but it is always a good thing to have more eyes on your home.
Absolutely.
That's never, ever, ever, ever a bad thing.
As long as it's priced right.
Yes.
Because what is it we say?
Yeah.
We say that's just more eyes looking at an overpriced house.
That's fair. Yeah. I don't say it exactly like that, but yes, that's good.
Something like that.
Yeah, totally. But it is. Yeah, and because it's yes, exactly. So
we love to do the marketing. And we really do work to tailor, tweak our marketing to really fit that particular house or that particular neighborhood or that situation that's going on.
Yeah, well, and really in the buyer world, right? You've got people you know, people you don't know, and then you've got people. What is it? People you know, people you don't know, and then you've got people who are kind of on the sidelines, who are kind of passive buyers, right? Who are kind of just maybe shopping, but probably not. And then you've got people who are actively shopping, right? And so if you think about kind of the intersection of all of those things, right? Like across, like you want to make sure you're hitting every single one of those boxes. Oh, excuse me. I just hit the mic. That's probably not.
That's a no-no.
My apologies. If you're on the audio, excuse me. You want to make sure you're hitting all 4 of those boxes because those are types of buyers. Yeah. You've got buyers who are active in the market, if you will. I guess it's this one really. But they are people you don't know. And so how are you going to reach those people? People who are active, but you do know them. How are you going to reach them, right? So you want to make sure you've got something that's addressing all of those areas.
Yep, I love that. That's a good analogy.
So I think that's great for when it comes to marketing your home. Social media, ads, my gosh, videos, our photography company makes you a website that looks so dang good.
Aerial photos, drone photos, twilight photos.
Whatever your property needs.
Staging, all the things.
How are we going to present this to the marketplace? Exactly.
Yeah. What kind of buyer is going to want this house?
Yeah, and even when it comes to selecting the photos, what photos do we need to put out there? What photos do we not need to put out there?
Right.
You know, do we need to show the laundry room that is tiny maybe in your
it has
home?
Litter boxes.
That has that. Do we need to show that? No, like they're going to see it when they come through the home.
Yeah.
Anyways, so
we want people to come into the house and experience it as much as possible. So marketing the house, that's our big service, helping you price it right and then marketing it.
Yeah, I really think, the realtor's value, it's all of those things for sure, but I think it's the marketing is of course a big deal and it's a huge thing, but really it's more of a navigating because what comes after the marketing is like the maintenance almost. So we're marketing the home, but it's the tracking, it's the analytics, it's the.
And what does it mean?
Because you had all of a sudden you had 4,000 views between Zillow and Realtor.com and Homes.com or something, right?
So we had one showing.
Exactly.
What does that mean?
And did you have any saves on those platforms that you can track? Did you have on social media? You had 500, 600, 700 views, right? Cool, that's awesome. Did you have anybody comment? Did you have anybody DM to make a inquiry about the home, right? Did you get any emails from email marketing or whatever, right? And so there's a lot of marketing pieces, and you got to track the analytics because that's where we see the trends. And that's where we see the activity, and the activity indicates how we're performing to the marketplace.
Yeah, and if there's something we're missing.
Yes.
If there's something we can do differently to get it on the right eyes. Hey everyone, real quick before we get back to the show, if you're on Facebook, Instagram, or YouTube, we'd love to connect with you. We post a lot of content like this in case you miss an episode, along with more Fort Worth and surrounding suburb, local insights, and finds. You can find our team at the Christenberry Group on all social platforms, or you can connect with Jackson and I personally on our Facebook and our Instagram accounts. Just be prepared for lots of pictures of my grandson on either account. Now back to the show.
Yeah, and the best way we can do that is by tracking feedback. And so as people show the home, actually getting them to sometimes agents do submit feedback, which we love them, but sometimes agents don't. And so you've got to follow up with that agent to say, hey, what did you think about this home? And so that you can know how the marketplace is responding to your home.
We want to know how the buyers are thinking and what else they're shopping compared to you.
Yes. Where do they look besides you? Exactly.
And did they put an offer in on another house? And what was the difference? Why did they go with that one instead of yours? We ask all those kinds of questions when we're talking to agents.
Because you need to know that. You need to know what your competition is. So, but that's the fun part. So let's say you've done that. You crushed it. You absolutely crushed it. You received offer, parentheses S.
Yes.
You either got an offer or you got offers.
Offer, hopefully S.
Hopefully what you got offers.
Which is what we're always working to accomplish if possible.
Multiple offers is always your best case scenario. It just is. It's just always going to be that because you've created a bidding war. Now you took it from you took it from somebody just coming off the street and purchasing this thing because now it's eBay. Now it's an auction. Right. Now it's there.
And nobody knows who the other.
Nobody knows what the other person's putting in, and so now it's become this bidding war, right? And so that's a great position for you as a seller to be in. It's always a good position.
You get to choose your terms, your price, all those.
It's one of the only scenarios that really gives you a chance to go over list price.
Yeah.
So that's always a great plot. So you got that in. So what we're going to do, at least in what most realtors should do, is prepare you kind of the apples to apples
Right.
Look at, here's your net sheet with these terms. Here's your net sheet with this offer's terms, right? This one may be at $4.99, but the terms are all the seller paying it, right? This one may be $4.95, but the terms are all the buyer paying it, right? And so that may compensate depending on what the terms are and what they're looking for.
This one may net you $5,000 more, but they've got a really iffy lender.
Yes.
We can't get the agent to call us back.
That's a whole different part of that ball game or you got cash offers. Like, what does that mean for you when you get a cash offer? Why is that important? We'll talk you through all that.
Yeah.
So that's the fun part is helping people understand those things.
And if somebody has a house to sell, contingencies.
Oh my gosh, that is a whole different ball game. Yes.
Being able to navigate those, make sure that we are, going with the offer that is the strongest, that's most likely to close.
Yes.
Because you're going to buy another house, and we're going to have you under contract on another house. So we got to make sure that the one that's buying your house is going to close.
Yep.
So those kinds of things, how to make you really attractive to the buyers that are in the market at the point in time.
Well, and then negotiating. That's the thing is actually tactfully and professionally negotiating on your behalf. This is the thing. This has happened to me 3 times in the past week, and this is shocking to me. But like, just asking the question, hey, can your buyer do this? Would your buyer be open-minded to considering this? And this is a lot of marketing terms we use and sales terms we've learned through different people we watch and stuff. But asking the question gets you things. There were offers over the weekend where I just simply went back to their site and I said, the seller would like to know if your buyer is open-minded to considering this, and they did it.
They didn't offer it, which was surprising.
They didn't offer it, but they did it.
But they would
do it. And it was like, cool. Like that should not be like. I didn't do a big thing. That's not a big deal. I just asked a question, right? That's not a big deal. But like, some people don't do that.
Yeah, they just take the offer for what came in the door, period.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, there's no negotiation that happens, no conversations. And so, it's a fantastic, you've got to be negotiating.
And you can ask anything.
Yeah, you can.
You can ask anything.
You can ask anything. You need to know if you ask too much, you may scare off the buyer. But
it can go the opposite way.
It can go the opposite way. But as long as you know that and you're cool with it, go ask whatever the heck you want. Go for whatever terms you want to go for. Like, it's completely up to you because it's your home sale. You never have to do something you don't want to do unless truly like your timeline just was up for some reason.
Sure. If you had real specific.
If you're in an emergency situation, you have to. Obviously, in that situation, just to meet your timeline, you may have to be.
You just be cooperative.
Cooperative just to accomplish that. But that's the only kind of scenario where it's not really just getting to do whatever the heck you want to do. So.
Yeah, a lot of our job during negotiations is really helping our clients understand risk and helping them have risk mitigation. Yeah. So we're going to tell you that you can do all these things that you want to do, but the risk of losing your buyer, the risk of having it backfire, or the risk of losing that concession is blah blah blah.
Yeah, and really clear communication too. I think we were negotiating a buyer's inspection report. I'm on the seller side, the buyer's inspection report, and just they sent over a laundry list of things, and it was like, help me understand so that I can effectively communicate to my client what is your priorities here. What do I need to know about this? And she sent me 2 or 3 things that were on that list, and it was like, well, there was 8 things on that list, but now I know these are the things these are the big deals. Yeah. We got to really have conversations about this and figure out what we want to do here. So just having really clear communication, making sure each side is on the same page with this stuff. So.
And being even though you're negotiating and being a little, not necessarily adversarial.
No, never.
But being a little.
You shouldn't be.
You're being separately representative,
yes.
right? They're representing one side, you're representing the other. So you have to do that piece. At the same time, both sides want to buy and sell a house.
Right. Yeah.
So trying to accomplish that.
Your goals are aligned.
Yeah.
They are aligned.
You are aligned.
The terms may make you not aligned along the way, and that's totally fine. Like that.
Yeah, and that's our value. We bring in that non-personalization. If you were going head to head with the buyer or the seller directly, it's easy to get upset about things. It's easy for stuff to really bother you and get emotional, and that's a lot of the value we bring in a negotiation. Yeah,
for sure. Yes, third party is so helpful in that way.
Absolutely.
And then really what kicks off now is, like, let's say you accept an offer. What kicks off now is the transaction process. and moving you from under contract to the closing table. And there are a lot of things that go into this. If you really, it's a very huge process. As the seller, the main things you're going to feel are going to be the inspection period, which is usually the option period, which is traditionally somewhere between 5 to 7 days, depending on the offer and what was put in the contract. That's going to be navigating, like if they find something in the inspection report about your home that you didn't know about, right? And so they're going to talk to you, and they may ask for repairs, may ask for money. We'll navigate those negotiations with you, help you see that. And then if you accepted an offer with a conventional loan or FHA loan, any loan really, any third-party financing, you may also have to consider an appraisal. And so those negotiations as well. But those are kind of the two main things that happen there. Really, our job as your realtor in those situations is to make sure we're all moving together towards the closing table.
Stop the surprise.
Checking in with the lender, making sure, hey, lender, we still on track? Okay, we are. Okay, we're not. Tell me more about what's going on here. What are we waiting on? Oh, we're waiting on the buyer to get you this document. Cool. I'm hanging up that phone. I'm calling the buyer's agent. Hi, we're waiting on this from, please, please make sure your client knows that this is what the lender's waiting on, kind of thing, which is a role that the buyer's agent should do, but like we're going to do the most for you.
We have a system and an auto plan that we utilize for these kinds of behind the scenes kind of stuff to keep things rolling. And I think there's 120 tasks. 120 tasks on it that are important throughout this whole process. So there's a lot of stuff going in the back.
Yes. And then we just navigate that with you and for you. Make sure timelines are met, making sure on the seller side, on the buy side, it's a whole different thing. But on the selling side, it is really navigating and making sure everybody's moving towards closing. And are we meeting these timelines? Are we not? What's happening? What's in the way? Let's figure out how we get that out of the way. Project manager kind of stuff. So.
Absolutely.
But again, that's an overview. Those are kind of two main things that happen there. But once you have navigated the transaction, you close on your home.
Yeah, you go to the closing table, you sign the documents. We've already looked them over, so we know that they're right. And you're going to sign the documents, and the funding comes through. The title company processes all the payments. You may
have a lease back to consider at that point. So you may not be out of the home if you negotiated a lease back. The seller may be allowing the new owner, the buyer, may allow you to stay in the home for an extra 2, 3, 4 days or whatever the lease back is, which are super helpful and super good to have.
It helps you be sure that it closes before you move maybe your major things.
Yeah, your stuff. And then really, I mean, you've done it. We're going to talk to you every situation is a little different as far as the back end goes, making sure we keep all of your documents in our systems. And so we've had access to anything you may need for tax purposes in the next year, whatever that looks like, right? But really, it's just navigating, making sure that you're doing okay in your new spot. Did you get moved? Did you kind of thing? We'll check in and make sure you're doing okay.
Invite you to all of our client events.
Yeah, we're going to throw parties every quarter basically or whatever. Every semi-annual. That's twice a year. Yeah. And so we'll let you in on the party, let you in on the surprise.
That's right.
It's a good time. But that's really what it looks like to do this. And so anything else? I mean.
That's the majority of it. I think the biggest thing when you're selling your house is make sure that you trust the person that's doing the work with you.
That is so undersold. Like that is just so undersold because this person is working on your behalf.
Right.
That's the thing. Like this person needs to be able to be an extension of you and how you would want to play this process.
Yeah. Even to the point of if the realtor's best interest was to do X. That to do Y is what needed to happen for your best interest.
You need to be able to trust that person's going to do it.
Y.
Exactly. Yeah. And when hiring that person, you need to be able to trust that they're going to do that. Exactly. Yes.
Yeah. That's to me, that's the dividing thing there. When it really is the realtor making the decision.
Yeah.
Even though I'm going to suffer a little bit on my end, or things are not going to be as great as they could be for me, we're going to make sure we take care of that client.
Yeah, and that's hard to interview. So I mean, I think that one of the things you can do, and if that's, I think that should be a concern of yours when you're interviewing an agent. Maybe not a concern, but something that you are interviewing and trying to discern as you're interviewing them. Maybe consider getting some sort of referral list from them or past client list from them where they can send you to people who have worked with them in the past or something like that, right? Where you've got a way to get, obviously Google reviews are great too, but those tend to be kind of sourced, I guess is the way to say that.
Sure.
And so getting some kind of review where you can have a conversation with that person to figure out, did they really operate in the agent's best interest or in the client's best interest, excuse me. So, but yeah, That's really,
Yeah.
that's how you sell a house, y'all.
That's really how you sell a house.
That's how you do it.
It's kind of a high level look at it.
Yeah, it's a very high level look.
It's how you
Everything's
do it.
every real estate transaction is so different, and has different elements and different little
Very unique.
Very-
nuances.
You're working on different timelines based on the contract, and so every has a nuance. Yes, like that. Every contract has nuances, and so it can be every transaction is just specific. It just is to what's happening and what's being sold, and so it's our job to be knowledgeable on all that. So
That's right. We don't like to be surprised.
no, it's the worst.
We want to make sure we can stop that and prepare whatever plan B or plan C needs to be.
And get you options that you need. So
Yeah.
cool, y'all. All right, well, that's how you sell your home refresher course
Refresher.
for the month of April. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out. If you have any specific concerns or about your home sale or what's happening in your neighborhood regarding your property values or whatever, glad to have a conversation with you about that. But
Absolutely.
feel free to DM, comment, text, email.
Share it with somebody that you think is going to be selling a house
Yep,
soon.
we're on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Feel free to, I think on our, you can Google us, the Christian Break Group, and we've got a whole, phone number there that you can reach out to and all that kind of stuff. So give us a call, let us know what we can do for you. We'd love to help any way we can.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank y'all. Hey, thank you so much for watching the podcast today. If this has been valuable for you at all, we sure could use your help getting the word out to more people. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, go ahead and give us a follow and consider taking just maybe 2 minutes to leave us a review. Both do wonders for our show with the algorithm, and on both platforms, all you gotta do, head over to our show page. On Spotify, hit 3 dots and select rate. And on Apple, all you gotta do is just scroll down to the show and say leave a review. So just click that. If you're seeing this on Facebook or Instagram, a like or comment puts all the good vibes out in the algorithm for us. And on YouTube, make sure you smash that like button, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you can be notified whenever we post a new episode. Join us again next week for more Fort Worth housing news and updates. Until then, y'all have a great week.